Now they are literally second to last in the conference. I'm not going to tell you who's last in the conference because we are.
Does it start with an R and end in Rosemount?
Yes, it does. But that's not important. What's important is that Apple Valley now sucks.
Well, I just remember being at Eastview that Rosemount was better at everything than anyone else. Like Eastview had like music. Like our band program is like one of the best in the state. Other than that, it was Rosemount this, Rosemount that. So it's nice to know that
Rosemount sucks in something.
at least in one thing. Like you need a blemish somewhere.
What you got to do is visit the Granite Falls Conference,
The
and where no school,
GFC.
the no school is dominant at anything because we're all very bad. Do we want to intro the show? Do we want to get into it?
We should. God, it's been a while. Has it been since the summer?
It's been.
Or have we done?
We did one in the fall, didn't we?
Yeah, we did
think
one.
so.
Oh gosh.
I'm subscribed to it on my phone. We can see the.
I have the admin page right here.
Let's see where.
Oh, look at that.
Our last episode was October 3rd.
What was that one? What is the name of that one?
Baker Maybefield.
Dude.
Okay.
Think of how far we have. I screamed when I saw the thing come up on my Instagram.
Let us. We're going to intro the show before we get into this because this is good, solid content. Yeah. Okay, I've got our quarters pulled up. Okay, because there's also twins I want to talk about and T-Wolves because they suck.
Dude, yeah.
Okay.
D-Rose, though.
Gonna intro the show.
Okay, gonna intro the show.
Welcome to the Q4 podcast. Your favorite podcast where three guys whisper into your ear about sports and stuff.
Okay.
This is a really
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable cross between KFan and NPR.
Seriously.
Support for your podcast has been brought to you by Noah Brown.
You're doing it wrong. If
Do you
you're
know
going to do
how
public
fast
radio, at least do it.
I turn
Do it
off
right.
podcasts that start like that. Welcome to this podcast. I'm like, all right.
I'm going to whisper in your ear
Nope,
the next
not
hour
gonna
and a
do
half. If you put your hands next to the microphone, it really picks up a lot more sound.
Well, I feel like people don't understand that you don't need to speak quietly when you're really close to the microphone. Like if you're adjusting audio levels correctly, you can be up real close to the mic and still get loud and not like blow people's ears out.
Okay, but if
And
I'm
so,
standing back here,
You're sitting right now.
so like with it's not reverse, but so like people who talk really quietly don't need to do that. Just turn your mic up.
Simple audio stuff.
Exactly.
I mean, even I know that.
Right. And also
okay, who's the producer of this show? Who runs this thing? It's split between me and Noah, but that's fine.
I said, it's definitely not me, so one of you two.
Well, and also just like the whispering suggests like an intimacy that I'm not comfortable with. Like the only people who are whispering in my ear are exactly zero.
Yeah.
Like
We should probably keep it that way, too. I don't want
and
people
so,
whispering in my ear.
Joe Schmo on such and such public radio being all intimate is like, hey, my name's Joe. Welcome to my show. It's like
It's especially weird when
who
like
do you think you are, Joe?
when when NPR like they have like the combination of intimate whisper, but it's like it's a political podcast and it's like just news, so it's like Donald Trump decided today that
it's
he's
just
going to, and everyone's just like, I don't like this.
Yeah. Because politics are not intimate. They're
They
the
shouldn't
opposite
be.
of that. Yeah. If they are, that's a problem. Yeah.
It's
That'll
like
get you fired.
most stuff on NPR, like when they're reading the news, it's like today's headlines. They're in a very newsy voice and everything, and it's just very straightforward, clear cut. But it's like all those like opinion podcasts or usually like the literature podcasts, or it's like where people feel like they're being very artistic and deep and really thought provoking, and they think that this tone, for whatever reason, will really get you to open your mind to the possibilities of whatever the fuck Ernest Hemingway was talking.
No, my mind has been opened by your tone. I thank you.
Okay.
You get back out of here.
All right, we're gonna actually intro the show now.
How long have we been recording?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Q4 podcast.
We're back, baby.
It's been 6 months, not 6 months.
It's been
quite.
1 week since you looked at me. No one else thinks of that any time that.
That was too good of an impersonation. You just did
do
it
that all the
with
time.
bare naked ladies.
Man,
Okay,
it's
sorry,
been
continue.
about 5.5 months. Our last show was October 3rd.
So we were throwback to us being very wrong about the NFL.
Oh my
and
goodness.
how it turned. I was right about one thing, and you were right about one thing too.
I was
Before
wrong
we get
about
started,
basically
I
everything.
want to say you guys thought I was crazy when I said that the Dallas Cowboys would get double-digit wins and that they would beat the Saints. I was off by a game. I said 11-5 at most, but they went 10-6. They beat the Saints. So you guys can go heck off.
Yeah, that's right. They did.
I don't have anything to.
Yeah,
I don't have
it's
anything
just
to counter that
whatever.
with.
They'll go
I'm just-
8-8 next year, and it'll be.
Hey, we've got Amari.
That's true.
Oh.
That was okay. To be fair, though, that turned out a lot better than I think a
Yeah.
lot of people expected.
And Jason Witten's back. So
Okay,
like
that is a
that's weird.
terrible idea.
that is not a
That
terrible
is an
idea.
awful
You
It's
are
actually-
biased. You are so
I'm
That
not
biased.
is
biased.
such a
I think-
stupid idea, I think.
Especially since Cole Beasley is now gone, since he's with the Bills. Having Jason Witten under there, sure, he's not fast. He's not really agile at all. But he provides a solid underneath option
Sure,
for.
he's not
Dak
athletic,
Prescott.
and he's not going to make any plays.
I did not
but
say
you
that.
You know what?
I did not say he was not athletic. I specifically refrained from using the word athletic because he does have size. He does have an uncanny
Being
ability
a big
to get
man
open.
does not mean you're athletic.
I'm just saying, but like he is athletic. If you look at his last couple of seasons, he was slow as all get out. But he found a way to get open. He is a very good route runner. And I'm not saying he's going to put up the numbers that he did 2 seasons ago. And those weren't the best. I mean, it was 600 yards and like 5 touchdowns. But it's a solid underneath option for Dak Prescott in a year where he's losing a lot of receiving options and a lot of turmoil is happening in his receiving core. Is Jason Witten going to put up huge numbers? Is he going to be a primary target? No. There's actually talk about him having a backup role to some of the tight ends. But bringing him there as a veteran leadership, as a veteran presence, and as someone who knows the Cowboys offense and can still, he's not, he's a year removed. He's still in shape. I think this is a good decision by the Cowboys.
It's a good decision by him too, because his broadcasting was
goodness gracious,
painful at best.
Well, I think it's just relative to Tony Romo. Like Tony Romo was a rock star.
No, it wasn't relative. Like even
but he was
just,
not good.
When he was on camera, he looked like the most uncomfortable
Yeah,
man that's
that's
ever.
true.
He was standing straight up, and he would kind of like side eye the camera to make sure that
Yeah.
it wasn't like trying to eat him or something.
He wasn't natural on camera.
Right. Well, listen, like
At all.
I think by any measure, it was bad. He was not a good commentator, but I think it was made even worse by the fact that Tony Romo just the year before jumped in and was
so good.
I'm going to go out and say the best color commentator in football.
Yeah, I think it's between him and Chris Collinsworth.
Yeah.
I think. Just because, do you not like Chris Collinsworth?
I don't know if it's between those two, but
That's
Well, who do you
I-
think it's between? I think Tony Romo is, if not number one, then tied for number one.
I think so.
Because he was damn good.
Tony
this year.
Romo, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Tony
Like,
Romo.
The what was it? Was it the NFC Championship? Or no, it was the
AFC.
AFC Championship. He like 7 plays.
Yeah.
He just knew.
Romostradamus.
And this, I'm really mad
I've
because
never heard that before, but I like that.
I'm really mad because CBS told him to stop doing that.
Really?
Yes,
Why?
Why? Why would you not
I don't
want
know.
that? It's the coolest thing
Yeah.
that's ever been a part of sports broadcasting.
Well, and
Get
also-
rid of the overhead camera. Just give me Tony Romo predicting everything as it happens.
Yeah.
Because that's like in year one, like pretty much every other play, Tony Romo was like, here's a run to the right. Boom, run to the right. Here's a crossing route over the middle to this guy. Boom, there it is. And then CBS is like, no, you should stop doing that. It's not fun.
You know what I
so
liked
in
about
year
that?
2,
Like it was never, I think it'd be like, they have a chance to run to the right here. That might be a good idea. It was, they're running it to the right, and they ran it to the right. He's like, off tackle to the right. Oh,
I'd
Brady's
really-
killing the play, going up the middle. And it was like picture perfect, exactly.
I'd
that.
really want to hear Tony Romo and Brett Favre in the same commentating booth.
Oh, boy.
Because Brett Favre didn't know jack about how football operated. He was just like throw to the guy that doesn't have anyone else by him kind of person. So like it would be like they're running it to the right. Oh, I don't know. I think they've got a lot of defense on that side.
let's say like
Okay, Brett.
Brett Favre and Tony Romo were 2 completely different quarterbacks. Like Brett Favre was just such a physical specimen. Like, he had the physical ability to play quarterback, but he had no idea what he was doing. Tony Romo was a D2 quarterback. He was not the strongest arm, not the fastest guy, not the most elusive guy, but he was smart because he had to be. And so, like, having those two up there, it's almost like having, not a similar thing, but also having, like, John Madden and Tony Romo.
I was just thinking that someone who's just kind of stupid up there, you know, like
it's like John Madden knew what he was doing. I mean, he was a Super Bowl winning coach for the Raiders back in the 70s. So it's like he knows football, but he doesn't know how to communicate that.
no,
I really want the other commentating crew I really want is John Madden and Phil Sims.
Oh, please no! Oh my God!
With Jason Witten
With
as
Jason
the sideline
Witten.
reporter.
The sideline reporter, yeah. Oh my gosh, that'd be tough to listen to right there. That would be tough.
I think you would have to watch. Like, you wouldn't be able to look away.
Yeah,
Like,
it would
it's
be
like a train wreck.
Yeah, it's like staring at throw up. You know, you're just like, oh, I
You've been
can't.
teaching for too long.
Oh, it's gross.
How many kids have thrown
I
up in your
can't-
classes?
I can't look away at the same time. Zero. If anyone's like, I need to go to the nurse, I'm like, yup, you do. Out of here, because I'm not dealing with that. No thanks. Wow, we got sidetracked before even quarter one.
I mean, so we've got
This is the
stuff
pregame
planned.
show.
This
We've
is
had
the
a lot.
pregame,
We got a
yeah.
lot to talk about.
That's true.
We do have a
It's
lot
been
to talk
5
about.
months
to catch up on.
I'm watching a man named Greedy Williams right now run a 40, and I didn't know that was a Greedy Williams.
Can we talk about DK Metcalf?
Okay, we're going to talk about him in football.
Okay.
We're going to cover 3 other sports before we get back to football. All right? Start with baseball first.
Okay, I can do that.
Baseball.
Specifically the Minnesota Twins, because there's something weird going on with the Twins in that,
Nothing is going on.
yeah, except they're somehow better than they were.
Are they, though?
Well, it's spring training.
It is spring training, but
Right.
like comparatively to like how they looked last spring training, Byron Buxton is knocking home runs every game. Every game. The man's
Okay.
big and strong.
Yeah, he's still. I was ready to jump on the bandwagon of that like 5 years ago, and now I'm like, no, I'm seeing 167 and 30 RBIs again. Like,
Yeah,
he was supposed to be the guy with Mike Trout, and look at Mike Trout, and look at him. So I'm gonna hold my breath on that one.
That's fair. I'm holding my breath on Byron as well, but I think the Twins have accepted the fact that they will never have a pitching game, and they've just decided that, like, I've told you this, Noah, but like the Twins are saying we're not going to win games 2-0. We're going to win games 18-14. We're just going to try to score more than you can.
Yeah.
Which I do not understand, because I believe the Twins don't have anybody on payroll beyond, what is it, the 2020 season? Like, their books are completely open. And so this is the perfect time to go out and sign a dominant pitcher, someone like Dallas Keuchel, who is still
I'm
unsigned.
still mad about that we don't have him. Like, I'm not saying I'm happy with what the Twins are doing. I'm just saying this is what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's so baffling, because their only competition for the AL Central is Cleveland. And Cleveland is getting so complacent that they can win this AL Central that they were sellers this offseason. They were getting rid of pieces, and they're like, you know what? We're still going to get the AL Central title, which I have an issue with regardless, because, like, even if you do win the AL Central, you're going to get smoked by anybody in the AL East or the AL West. But still, so the Twins are the number 2. They are the second team in the AL Central. There's kind of a consensus on that. And it wouldn't have been very difficult to get up to that number 1 spot, particularly with the pitchers who are on the market. Guys like Dallas Keuchel, like Craig cannot say that guy's name. Craig Kimbrell. Goodness
There we
gracious. Andrew Miller before he signed with the Cardinals. I mean, there are so many good pitching options.
There's a part of it that I feel like the Twins are just waiting until next year when they have nothing on the books. They're going to completely restructure the team. They'll have Marwin Gonzalez. That's it. That's all they'll have signed through next year. So if they can go into the offseason and suddenly there is no roster, they can completely build the team.
But who's going to be on the market then?
Nobody.
Exactly. Like, at least
Again, I never said it was a good idea. It's just what they're doing.
I mean, this year you had Manny Machado and Bryce Harper, like the 2 biggest free agents this decade. why not at least make a play for them? Well, next year, I mean, everybody was kind of banking on Nolan Arenado being available next year. He's signed his extension. He is not going to be a free agent. Paul Goldschmidt, maybe, but the Cardinals have a history of trading for veteran players and then signing them to longer extensions.
The worst.
And it's actually worked out pretty well for them. The last one they did
I know it works out for you. It doesn't work out for us, though. So that's the thing.
But so there's no guarantee that Goldschmidt will be on the market next season. And so who does that leave you with? And even if there are people on the market, the Twins have shown that they're not really willing to go for that. Any big names on the market.
Yeah, I was just going to say, who's the last big name that the Twins went out and got? Not the last big name that they had and then gave away. Like David Ortiz comes to mind, but like who's the last big name they got? Have they gotten anyone?
Last big name free agent?
Yeah, like
they haven't signed a big name free agent. Well, the thing with the Twins is that for the longest time they were just riding the fact that they had like the best farm system in the league.
They had good guys
like,
coming
they
up.
had good guys coming up, so they didn't need to pick up a free agent. But now their farm system has gone away. Like they don't have the guys coming up from the minors anymore. We don't have Justin Morneau and Joe Mauer and Michael Kadire and Jim Thome. Or Jim Thome was maybe the last big guy we signed from Cincinnati. But
that
like,
was
we don't
still
have,
way down the
yeah,
road. It wasn't
yeah.
in his prime.
So I think I honestly don't know what they're up to. They're consistently one of the lower spending teams in the MLB based on like the percentage of revenue they bring in, because the MLB works differently than like NFL or NBA. But like I think they're in the bottom 10% of the league with like the percentage of the revenue that they spend on actual players.
Well, so the Twins have a lot working against them, where they are not in a large baseball market, and so it's hard to compete with teams like the Yankees.
But even
like
so,
the
they
Dodgers,
can spend
like
more of the money that they have. They just aren't.
They can't, and so part of it is on them, but also part of it too is players just don't want to come here. I mean, guys like Manny Machado, Bryce Harper, they were very explicit that they wanted to be kind of in the big city, in the big, media spotlight. And so you don't go to Minnesota for that. You go to New York.
No,
you go to
they
LA.
They got to play here in March. Like
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gosh, the home opener is in like a week,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to that game.
Gosh.
Although the weather's looking like if it holds out, it'll be like upper 40s, lower 50s.
Wow.
Which
Yeah.
is
what
and just
great
you know,
baseball
you know,
weather.
Now that I'm saying that out loud, I've been going through the past month and a half, like really excited to just get to 40. But
40's a
realizing
big
that, places like LA, even St. Louis, particularly like down in Florida and Texas, when their home openers come around, they're getting like, 70, 80 degrees, sunny. Like that is baseball weather.
We're waiting for the temperature to come to us that is like horrifically cold to people in the southern states. Like if it reached 40 on the home opener in Houston,
oh my God.
my gosh, there'd be mass panic ensuing in the Astros stadium.
Well, there were severe weather advisories down in Florida and telling
Yeah,
people
like
it's
tornadoes
like
touched down last week.
Yeah. Or like a couple months
In
ago,
Florida? Weird.
Yeah, a couple months ago, people were like, put your coats on. Do not go outside if you don't have to.
That was
And
like the Hawaii news broadcast.
And it was like 60 degrees.
the high for the day was like 67. They were like, if at all possible, do not leave your home.
Like, I know that you get acclimated to like your regional climate or whatnot, but how is 67 degrees in any place cold? I can understand that it's cold relative to normal
that's
temperature.
the temperature I keep my apartment at.
That is room temperature.
That is room. Like,
How is that painfully cold for
Yeah.
someone? What do they keep their homes at in Hawaii? Like,
gosh, I don't even want to
92?
know. I mean, it's old people and vacationers. So
Yeah, I don't know. Minnesota's tough, but I like the Twins. I just watched a video. It's kind of funny. We're talking about the Twins, about Johan's 17 strikeout game, and just to hear Dick and Bert talk through that game, it was like everyone's excited. Like the last time I was excited about Twins baseball was like 2006 when they had where it was like Johan and all those guys, like, and that was the last time we had a legitimate chance.
I think the last time people got real excited, like just the mass fan base in general, was Mauer's MVP year.
Yeah.
Like, so 2010. That's almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, and that's crazy because it's like we're coasting, and no one's taking a risk. But we've got this new dude, Rocco, right?
Yeah, Rocco Baldelli.
The new manager. So maybe he'll bring something spicy or new or something. I don't know.
We can hope.
Hopefully, we'll see.
I don't know. It's weird. I got to talk about my Cardinals a little bit, but it's weird going back and forth between the Twin Cities and St. Louis. Like the Twin Cities have a large amount of sports teams. Like you've got all the four major sports. You've got WNBA. You've got MLS. So like you would think that this was a sports town, and yeah, people love the Vikings. I have not met crazier fans, except maybe in Wisconsin, and Wisconsin people are just crazy in general. But nobody is there's a weird kind of acknowledgement that the teams won't do well or that they'll let you down, and that's just like built up over decades of disappointment. Whereas when you go to St. Louis right now, all they have is baseball and hockey, but that's all that they talk about. Like you go down to St. Louis, I bet you can't go 15 minutes without someone bringing up the Cardinals. And there's just such an excitement and such an atmosphere of love for that team, where the Cardinals have not made the playoffs since 2015. We've been out of the playoffs for 3 years, and people are talking about having a huge turnover in the front office and cleaning house because this is the longest playoff drought we've had since 1997 to 1999.
Must be nice.
It is, and I think people don't appreciate that because like if you come up here to Twin Cities, everybody's like, yeah, baseball, we're gonna suck anyway, so might as well just go and
get a hot dog because now they're cheap.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. That's kind of nice.
And like that kind of stuff, like the Twins, you would think that in order to get people excited for things, they would be doing the lower concessions prices, the more of the what are they, the theme tickets, the giveaways. I mean, you look at the Cardinals schedule, they've got, giveaways practically every other day for a home game. I think there are, like 40 or 50 giveaways on an 82 or an 81 game home schedule. And like I think there's stuff that the Twins could be doing, but also it's just kind of innate, like in order to get people excited about baseball, you got to be good at baseball.
Yeah. But I think there's also the flip side is true is that in Minnesota, we're not expecting to win. We all just go to the games anyway. But
they don't.
I do.
But I think you are part of the minority where, the Twins, I don't have the numbers, but they're selling about 33,000 tickets per game on average.
There were a couple games last year that we definitely had no one in the stands.
Yeah,
right.
And you can see it, and it looks like those places where it's just like, oh, here we go again. Another 110 loss season.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you look at the Miami Marlins, for example. I mean, I did not watch a game that the Marlins played last season where they were sold out. There are so many open seats in the outfield. It was sad. Whereas you look at St. Louis, rarely do they dip below 40,000 people in attendance. And they are, I think, third in the league in percentage of sellout games at home.
I think it also does depend on, if you're going to talk about attendance, just depending on the culture around the sport in general, not necessarily the team. Because, like, you can look at a team that's been consistently, not great in the Wild, which gets the first round of the playoffs every year and gets smoked. And that's been, 7 years in a row now? And they haven't not sold out a game in 3 years.
True, but I think that's kind of an outlier because Minnesota is hockey country.
Yeah, but it's not baseball country, which is kind of the point, is that, like, in order to get people excited about baseball, you got to do a lot, especially in the part of the country where baseball is really not the big thing.
I see what you're saying. Like, it's definitely, like, hockey focused, and then after that, football with the Vikings actually being successful in the last couple of years, but like there's just not a ton of, like, the Twins would have to do a lot more than the Wild do to get people there. And I think that puts pressure on the Twins to go to the go win the AL Central. And then it's like, oh,
they're
the Twins
failing miserably at that.
Yes.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Yeah. Like when I moved up here back in 2007, that's what, like, in the middle of the Twins, kind of golden run
it was like up here and then
of the 21st century. And so we got up here, and my brother Christian, who's been on the show before, huge baseball fan, he was really excited. It's like, oh, cool, we found another really great baseball city.
Yeah.
And then, so you have those first 3 years that were up here, like 2007 to 2010, where Joe Mauer is just absolutely crushing. You got guys like Justin Morneau, and the team is really good, and you make the playoffs. And what was it, in 2010, they made it to the ALDS?
Yeah, I don't think they made the CES since early 2000s.
Yeah. But at least they made the playoffs, and they were consistently in the hunt, and it was good. But since then, they really haven't done much.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think in order to win back the fans, you just got to get good. And you got to make, risky moves. Obviously not like throw caution to the wind, but you got to make some moves, make some plays, do something to draw up fan interest, because we know this is hockey country. We know this is Vikings country. But there is still a lot of people who would like to see a good baseball game.
Mm-hmm.
So give them a reason to come and see a baseball game.
Yeah, there's almost nothing better in the summer than to go watch a baseball. We finally got outdoor baseball, too. And now it's like...
Which in Minnesota is a risky proposition.
Right. But like in the summer, it was like, oh, let's go to the Dome. Well, okay, let's go sit outside in this 70-degree, beautiful Minnesota night. But to watch us
with my cheap hot dog and beer now.
Exactly.
Yeah, seriously.
Like last season, going out, the Cardinals were up back in May. It was 65 degrees, sunny with a slight breeze. Sitting up there on the third deck, skyline view of Minneapolis.
Watching Bobby Wilson hit his one and only home run that season to beat the Cardinals 1-0. Bobby Wilson.
Aside from the result of the game, that was perfect. As opposed to, going to a Cardinals game. I love Busch Stadium, but St. Louis in July, when it's 97 degrees, humid as all get out, it feels like you're swimming through the air.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you go to Busch Stadium for the experience. I mean, Cardinals baseball is an experience like none other. But it would be nice if they would put some air conditioning in there every once in a while.
Get a fan going,
a giant fan on top of the stadium.
Exactly.
It's technically open air, but it's
right. And so I put up with the warm air to go to a Cardinals game because it's a Cardinals game. But if the Twins were good, like that would be the perfect. Like Target Field is beautiful.
Oh yeah.
If the Twins were good, you got Minnesota summers, which are absolutely gorgeous, and watching a good baseball team, that's hard to beat.
That's the home team too. That'd be nice.
Yeah, like I can always go to Target Field and watch a good baseball team. It's whether or not I'm rooting for the good baseball team.
So you want a good baseball game. Because I went to a game last season too, and it was against the Orioles. So the Twins won.
Oh man!
But it wasn't through any conceded effort of their own. It was just the Orioles.
Let's watch two dumpsters try to fight each other on the streets.
The Orioles lost, and then the Twins just would have lost after the Orioles did. So then they
won that game. One just lost later on.
Same with the 12,000 people in attendance. They all lost too.
There was a good fireworks display afterward, though. It was like
those are the good nights.
It was a Friday fireworks night.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, and like it was the middle of July. Like it was an evening game. It was a beautiful day for baseball. Just wish it was beautiful baseball.
Speaking of teams that aren't very good,
segues.
The Timberwolves.
Nice.
I feel like we need to work on our segues again. We got really good.
I thought that was pretty good. That could have been worse.
I give it a solid 6.5 out of 10. We had some good ones.
I didn't ask for your rating.
Well, you're getting it anyway, TJ.
This is not an opinion podcast.
I think this is only an opinion podcast.
It's a speculation podcast.
That's true. That's
Get it right.
Didn't you open our last show by saying this is, where you go to listen to six guys who know nothing about sports?
It's also not a consistent podcast. Timberwolves.
Timber Pups. Boy, they are.
So there's something.
Plateauing.
Let's just start out with what Anthony, you have strong opinions about the Timberwolves. What are you thinking about them right now?
Well, I think it's really cool that the Saunders kid, Ryan Saunders, is taking over the team. I think that's awesome. I think that kind of gave us a cool little spark for like 2 weeks right there. That being said, I don't think he's going to be the guy next year. I still think, like the last time we were on this show, we still had Jimmy Butler, and that was kind of like the start of the whole reality show that was Jimmy Butler and Thibodeau. So I'm kind of glad we moved on from Tibbs. I think it was just we were ready for a kind of a culture shift, and I don't know if Saunders is the guy to take us to the next level. That being said, I think Derrick Rose has been like the feel-good story of the NBA this year. That's totally awesome, and everything he's doing. Cat has come alive after he got in a car accident. I don't know how, but he's just
afraid
like,
for his life.
Yeah, he's just. And I heard something on the radio the other day that said everyone in the Timberwolves front office is trying to drive around Andrew Wiggins and crash him into everything that they can to try to light a fire to get him going. But it's the Cat show right now, and unfortunately, it's not good enough because he's scoring 30, 40 points a game, 10 boards, but Timberwolves are still losing by 10 or 20 because they have 40 from Cat and then like 50 from kind of everyone else.
It's weird because basketball is a team sport, so one person should be able to just pick up all the slack, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's weird too, where like the Wolves are built to be Cat's team. Like
everything he is so far. Everyone wants him to be the guy so bad,
right? And that's why they got one of the main reasons they got rid of Jimmy Butler was to give the keys to Cat, and unless he pulls a LeBron from 2016 and pulls this team single-handedly back into contention, they need other guys. And the Wolves have shown that they're not willing to do that.
Yeah, and I think they're not willing to do that. And right now, they don't have like the time to find that guy in their system. Like Derrick Rose scored 50 points in a game, and he can go out and score 20 if you need him to, if he's shooting the ball well.
And if he's healthy.
Yeah, and at the same time, he's not healthy all the time. He's not always on. He's getting older, right? There's no time because we're in survival mode just to stay in a game. And then it's like, okay, ISO to Cat. We just need 2 points here. And then it's at the other end. Okay, they just hit a 3. Okay, Cat, we gotta get a bucket here. We gotta go to Cat. They're like that's the only thing that we can do right now. And I think that the European dude that came in, Saric or whatever.
Yep.
I thought
Dario.
he's done good stuff, but it's not enough. And Covington, solid, not enough, and he's been hurt forever. And I mean, Tyus got hurt there too, so that's just another person that can't bring the ball up. Jeff Teague was hurt for a while too, so I mean, just everyone's hurt. And there's Andrew Wiggins is just, yeah, good job.
He's Andrew Wiggins,
and it's like, dude. Come on. Like, you just want to yell at him and shake him up a little bit and be like, dude, look at how much athletic ability you have. Look at how good you are.
Look at how good you could be.
Please go do something. And the games where he's on fire and he's just feeling it, it's like, oh my God, this is the Andrew Wiggins that we traded Kevin Love for. Like this was we want Andrew Wiggins. This is the guy. But those games are 1 in every 20 or 1 in every 30. So
And then I think from here, so the team that we have right now obviously is not in the playoffs. It's essentially the same team, sans Butler and plus Saric and Covington, that we had last year that made it as the 8th seed. Where do the Wolves go from here? Like, you keep Cat because this whole operation is built around Cat. You have a lot of talented players on the team. You've got Wiggins, you've got Covington, you've got Saric, you've got Teague, Gibson, Okogie, Rose. Like, you have players. Mm-hmm. What are you going to do with them? In
my limited NBA knowledge and experience, I think you need a good number 2. I mean, you look, in Golden State right now, I mean, they're kind of a super team, so them notwithstanding, but it's like Steph Curry, Kevin Durant. When that works, that works. They complement each other really well. You look back at kind of the last dynasty, the Heat from the early 2010s. For your LeBron James, you had a Dwayne Wade. Mm-hmm. 2 guys who worked really well together and whose games complemented each other. And so it's okay if this is the Cat show, but Cat's not going to be able to do this every night.
Yeah.
So if you get a good number 2 who can support Cat, complement his play, right now the Wolves are just playing like they're 5 guys on a basketball court. You need to have 5 teammates. whose play is cohesive and consistent with each other and complements each other.
And the problem comes in, where do you find that? Is there someone on the team that can be a good number 2? Like Rose is a great player, but he's a great 6-man because he's old as heck and he can't keep up anymore.
Yep.
Like he can't. So he's a great 6-man, but he's not going to be able to keep up with Cat to be a number 2. Wiggins would be a number 2 if he could put his head in the freaking game and just play basketball, but he won't. So do you keep Wiggins? Do you try to make him the number 2? Do you try to force someone else in there into that position that you already have? Or are we going to see some deals happening?
I don't know. It's hard to say. And like, if you look at this team on paper, maybe 5 or 7 years ago, and you think just looking at 4, you think Derrick Rose, you think Andrew Wiggins, you think Cat, and you think Taj Gibson. You just look at those 4 people on paper 7 years ago, and you're like, okay, this team's going to the Western Conference Finals at a minimum, you know? But there's talent, so that's what I'm wondering is, do we need to bring a coach in that can switch some things up? And a lot of times you fall into Cat's going to score 40, but that's because we're only going to Cat. Like, is there a way where we can get someone 20 and Cat 30? Because then, like you said, we're playing as a team. We need someone to complement Cat. And right now, I'm bringing the ball up, Cat's posting up, and then going to work. There's no complement there. There's no team game. 3 people stand on one side of the floor, and the other guy throws it into your best player. So I don't know if that's a coaching thing. I know it's tough when you come in as the interim coach to be like, all right, I'm switching the culture and I'm doing everything in one season. Like it's hard to switch culture and switch people's minds, but hopefully a coach, whether that's Ryan or Fred Hoiberg or whoever it's going to be, can find that and see the T-Wolves play as, like you said, I thought you put it perfectly, a 5-man team instead of just 2-man game the entire game. And then, they got it out in transition and, Okogie had a big dunk or something. Okay, cool. But he had 6 points. Like, he didn't do anything. Where's our offensive productivity going to come from? So that's what I'm looking to see. And in the grand scheme of things, does it matter? No, because there's no way in hell they're getting anywhere close to anything in the West with all of these teams. So it's just fighting for a playoff spot right now, which they're not going to get this year. But in the future, it's going to be like 6 through 8.
At least they're better than the Lakers right now.
Oh, God. Isn't that a sad story right there?
Rip LeBron and his
Seriously.
hopes and dreams.
There was there's a story on Bleacher Report where an anonymous GM said that he would trade LeBron if he were on the Lakers, that he's just not healthy for this team, and they got to get rid of him.
I saw that. And I think, I don't know. It's still LeBron. Like, if LeBron wasn't there, would they be doing better?
No. Absolutely not. There's not a chance.
I don't think so. And, like, Brandon Ingram's good, but he's not LeBron. Kyle Kuzma's good, but he's not LeBron. Lonzo Ball is okay, but he's not LeBron. JaVale McGee sucks, and he is not LeBron. So, I don't know. It's tough. But the NBA is getting interesting because LeBron is now, we're finally starting to see him not be able to carry 4 scrubs to the playoffs anymore. So who's it going to be? Is James Harden the next face of the NBA? Is it Giannis? Is it Russell Westbrook?
We've
Steph
got
Curry?
the downfall of LeBron, but we've also got the downfall of Golden State impending. The impending doom.
Kevin Durant is so out of there. It is unbelievable after this season.
He's already he knows he's gone, and he's
being
just
a prick to everyone. And it's like, here we go again. But like, where's he gonna go?
Who wants him?
He can't go to Houston.
I saw a report that he and I forget who else were looking at the wanted to play for the Knicks.
Kyrie.
It was
Kyrie, I think.
Yeah,
Kyrie
he and
Irving.
Kyrie, and then the story that I saw was Charles Barkley just lighting them both up.
There's no way that doesn't end in a catastrophic failure.
Oh my God! You want to talk about reality TV show? Put Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving on the same team.
Can the next season of
York.
All or Nothing be following the Knicks with Durant and Irving?
Oh God!
My gosh!
Just not. They're so soft. It's unbelievable. I don't really like either of them, but that's another topic.
What if we wanted to talk about things that we do like?
Oh, Like what, TJ?
The Minnesota United.
Oh, dude.
That's a solid 5.5 out of 10 there, Teej. You really
Hey.
got to work on those.
Man, it's the first episode in 5.5 months. Give me a break.
seriously.
You had 5.5 months to prepare
Thinking
segues.
about it.
Also 5.5 months to just collect rust at that point.
There it is. Yeah.
I think it's going to be an exciting season. Got the new stadium. New stadium's gorgeous.
Gosh, it's so pretty.
Every time you drive by it, it's just like, wow.
I drove past it for the first time at night. Like, this was a while back, but I had seen it during the day. I'm like, gosh, it's a good looking stadium. And I drove by it at night when it was all lit up blue, and I was like,
Yeah.
I had trouble with just like not tearing up at that point.
At the end of last semester, so early December, I did a story for Tommy Media on the stadium because they announced that Tommy Johnny football game will be held at Allianz Field
so hype.
in October, and they did the announcement in the stadium. And at that point, it was still like at 95% completion, so there was still some construction going on the inside, but you're just walking in and seeing that stadium and just imagining the 20,000 people that are going to be in there. That was awe-inspiring. Like that was. I got chills walking in there. It was so cool.
That's awesome.
Probably my favorite thing about it is that when you drive by it, like the way it's built is that it's not like stadiums where you walk in, you walk down a concourse, and you walk around here and then you can see the field. Like, you can drive by, look through the doors, and see the pitch.
That's
like
awesome.
it's right there. Yeah. And that's so cool.
Yeah.
And one of the things they were talking about doing, they mentioned it was specifically for Tommy Johnny, but they also talked about maybe doing this for other big games, was in addition to having, the 20,000-ish tickets for sale on the inside, they have a nice plaza right outside.
Put the game on a screen.
Yeah, and they've got massive screens out there, so they're talking about for Tommy Johnny, have a tailgate out there, and people can just show up and watch the game there.
That's the best and also worst idea because that is just going to be an utter
madhouse.
Yes. It's going to be terrible, but it'd also be awesome at the same time.
Nothing but 1,000 drunk college students sitting in a parking lot.
Just berating each other just based on what they're wearing.
You can't separate the two teams. Gosh, I got caught in the Johnny pregame section this year before Tommy Johnny. That was a wild time.
Tough. Yeah.
Man.
But I am going to bring it back to soccer here.
Yeah,
for a
we
second.
should do that.
There are 2-0 so far.
Is cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. It's
that.
awesome. They're 2-0 so far, and the whole mentality is I watched both the games, and they got a lead in both the games, and it was that natural feeling where you sit back and go, oh, is it 90 minutes yet? Like, please, just get this over with. We have a lead. Like, the last 2 years, it was, okay, we got a lead. Now they're going to score 3 goals in a row in the next 7 minutes. But now it's like, wow, we're playing like a team who has won before. Like we're playing how you should when you're in the lead. And
it's almost like being a team for 2 years gives you a little bit of a cohesive mentality.
Yeah. And they've brought in some big guys too. They've brought in guys from Portland and from Seattle. So veterans who know what to do. And interviews with Adrian Heath, the manager, he said, like, this is not the same team of the last 2 years. He's said multiple times, this is by far the best team we've ever had. And it's
not
showing.
Hard again.
Well, yeah, not hard. But,
3 years old.
But last year was a big year because we won a lot of games and we had basically the same thing. So we actually got players and now we're winning again. And now it's like, whoa, okay, this is legit. Like we can have a team here and play, and it's fun to watch. And they're just a different team so far. Yet again, 2 games in, a lot of losses to be had here still, but starting off strong. 2 wins on a 5-game road stretch. They started out, and they got 3 more after this. That's
looking forward to the home opener.
Should be cool.
Oh man,
Hopefully
so
it's
cool.
loud.
I imagine it will be.
Yeah, but they made the supporter section like straight up and down, so that it's just literally a wall of sound going at people.
Beautiful.
Which should be cool.
Well, that was part of the design too, of kind of the partially roofed section, so that noise from because the spot right above the pitch is open, but all of the stands are covered, and so that is allowing sound to reflect off the roof and come back down right on the field. So it's supposed to be even louder than normal.
Good. It's fun, man. At those games, even at TCF, when it was loud and there was like 5 minutes left, it was fun. I mean, it's a cool atmosphere. But to have your own stadium and have it all like light blue and black and gray and everything, that'd be tight, man.
I need to get one of those scarves.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Scarves up, man.
Scarves up. Good luck transitioning that one.
I don't know how to transition it, so we're just gonna fly right into
What is going on
There's
with
the
football?
NFL has officially broken me. I thought it broke me the last time that we did an episode because all of our predictions had gone sideways, and I was like,
Mine didn't.
Most of your
our
predictions went sideways. I still had one correct prediction too because the Cardinals suck.
Well, that wasn't a prediction. That was a guarantee. Mine.
I got it right exactly. 4-12. They were 3-13, but that doesn't matter.
I said Jacksonville is going to go 14-2.
Remember, we all thought that Jacksonville was going to be like Jacksonville and Minnesota were the Super Bowl favorites. Like the consensus from us was that was what's going to happen.
And that's the quality content you get here on C4, ladies and gentlemen.
I had the Bears going like 3-13 or something like that, and so we were wrong.
We're talking about free agency today because free agency is nuts. It opened up 24 hours ago. And there's been so much happening. So I'm just going to run through the list.
Sure.
When you guys have opinions, say them.
But before you get started, I just want to hear Anthony.
Oh man, the Browns.
Okay, so I said 8-8 at the beginning of the season last year because I am a Baker believer. And
Baker Mayfield.
And Tyrod, however you say his name, got hurt, and by the grace of God, they put Baker Mayfield in, and they started winning games. This dude's just a winner, right? So, and the second biggest piece was firing that not very smart person, Hugh Jackson.
What a terrible thing to say about him.
I was trying to be very delicate there. They needed to get him out. They got him out, and even Todd Haley, I didn't think was the issue, but they got him out, right? And now it's like, whoa, they're not the Cleveland Browns anymore. They're playing some good football, and people are enjoying watching the Browns, and they win close games. And now what was it? It was 7-9-1 last year?
7-8-1.
Or 7-8-1? Sorry. Yeah. Dude, and now the Steelers
fell apart.
What is happening there? The Ravens will be good. The Ravens were surprising. The Bengals will be terrible again. Is my prediction.
As long as they have Andy Dalton, they will not be good.
But the Browns, the cool thing is like it's not like you got traded to the Browns, your career's over. It's like, you got traded to they're putting some pieces together. And you look at it, Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, David Njoku, the tight end, big dude, he's a beast. And then they have Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr. now.
I think that is the biggest move that any team will make this offseason.
Yeah, it's such compliments to Baker Mayfield now to let him do what he can do. Oh my God, they're winning the East.
There is a
for
part
sure.
of me. There's a part of me that wants
the North for sure.
They're so good. They're going to dethrone the Patriots in the East. They're going to win both the North and the East.
There is a large part of me that is like kind of hoping. Like I want them to be good. I do want to see the Browns be good. But there's also a part of me that's like, wouldn't it be so great if they got all these pieces and the wheels fell off 3 weeks into the season and it was just a giant trash fire?
As a Vikings fan, I thought you would be more sensitive to just complete and utter disappointment from your team, and why you would want to wish that on anyone else.
Because it's baffling. Better to happen to someone else than it is to happen to me.
But Cleveland has already put up with so much. 1-31 over 2 seasons.
They also are in Cleveland, so there's that.
A couple losses there.
Exactly.
But it's exciting. I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
Sorry, you can continue with your list.
So we're gonna we're just gonna read some free agency stuff here. Start with the Arizona Cardinals. We're gonna go in alphabetical order here. All right, Arizona Cardinals. Marcus Gilbert traded to the Steelers for a 6th round, or traded from the Steelers for a 6th round draft pick. They got Jordan Hicks. Expect to sign a 4-year deal. Brett Hundley.
I think.
Oh God.
Brett Hundley is now playing for the Arizona Cardinals.
I think what their moves are suggesting is that they've signed 2 pretty decent pass rushers. I mean, Jordan Hicks It's kind of their big signing. And when he was healthy with the Eagles, he was pretty darn good.
And so then the other big move on pass rush is Terrell Suggs.
Yeah. And so I think
To Arizona?
Yeah. And so that to me suggests that they are bowing out of the pass rushing market in this year's draft. And they were heavily favored to take Nick Bosa at number 1, which now suggests
they're going Kyler.
Yeah. Going quarterback.
I'm betting it right now. They're going Kyler.
So?
Yeah.
They've been talking to him. There's been talks that all of the negative press about Kyler is just stuff that's like the PR team for Arizona is trying to put out and make popular so that no one else thinks they're going for him.
Yeah.
There's also, I buy into a lot of these conspiracies because they're a lot of fun to think about, but there's also the conspiracy that they're trying to pull a San Francisco with Mitch Trubisky in that they're trying to convince someone below them that we're going to take Kyler. We're going to take Kyler. We're going to take Kyler. You really want Kyler, but we're going to take him. And then they're going to get like a massive trade
I think,
so that they can get.
I think this is a little different, though, because Josh Rosen was so disappointing.
Gosh.
And so I think.
Okay, well, he wasn't. So I have feelings about Josh Rosen.
It wasn't entirely his fault. I mean, that Arizona team last season sucked. Mm-hmm. And he was thrown right into it.
Yeah,
and
like a rookie, you can't expect a rookie to be good at all. Like, you look at the rookies that have played in the past and turned into great quarterbacks. Drew Brees sucked as a rookie.
Well, I think,
and if you're on a terrible team, like you can't just be expected. A 21-year-old can't be expected to lead a terrible team into winning anything.
And I think there are examples of that happening, but those are definitely the exception and not the rule. And you just see a lot of quarterbacks are drafted expected to be the saviors of their respective teams, and they just can't do it. And I think Josh Rosen, if put in a even decent situation, could have been a good quarterback. Is he going to be, the next Aaron Rodgers, Ben Roethlisberger, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady? No. But could he have been better than Andy Dalton? Maybe. He could have been.
And he still has a chance to. We don't know where he's going to go.
Exactly. But I think
he'll be picked up by someone. Someone's going to take him.
The way that Arizona has operated the last season, the way that their free agency has gone this season, and the way that their front office just has no clue what the hell they're doing, I'm fairly confident that they're going to look to move Josh Rosen and take Kyler Murray in the draft.
Absolutely.
If they don't, that's just further proof that they have no idea what they're doing.
Remember when Josh Rosen said in his interview, he was like, all these 6 teams passed on me, and I'm going to make them all regret it because I'm going to be a winner. That was Josh Rosen, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That worked out, didn't it, in his first season?
About to get traded to someone else.
Because they took all these guys before me. Oh, fine, I'm going to show them. And it's like, no, well, you literally did the opposite of that, so you proved everyone right.
There were several times last season where I'd be watching a Cowboys game, and I'd be disappointed with Dak. Like, he was just not playing well. And then I'd turn on a Cardinals game. And several times throughout the season, I would turn to whoever I was watching the game with and say, at least we don't have that guy.
Yeah, seriously. At least it's not that bad.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. They signed Fitz again, though, didn't they? For another year?
Yeah.
Fitzgerald?
That was earlier on. Yeah, they signed him for another year.
That's a cool story. I like him.
Everyone likes Fitz.
Yeah, he's what, 57 now? 58?
And he's never been on a good team.
Yeah, I know. Hey, other than the Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
Which they lost.
I forget they went to the Super Bowl because they've just been so bad elsewhere.
Santonio Holmes put him in the ground with that catch at the end.
They were also good with Carson Palmer. They were good-ish. And then Carson Palmer died.
He did, I think. I think he died.
What is it with quarterbacks in red jerseys who just die?
Just die.
Oh, the Redskins. That's right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My gosh. Literally, yeah.
They got a quarterback, didn't they?
We'll get there.
Okay.
Atlanta didn't really make too many moves other than re-signing both of their guards. Or signing 2 guards. Jamin Brown and James Carpenter. They also signed Grady Jarrett.
Okay, that's not bad.
They put a franchise tag on him. Baltimore made two really big moves. They re-signed their tight end, Nick Boyle, but they got Mark Ingram and Earl Thomas.
I think you said that in the wrong order. Earl Thomas is the lead. You go with Earl. You don't lead with Mark Ingram, you dunce.
I think Mark Ingram is a solid, not second string, not first string, but like first and a half string running back.
Well, I
attack.
think the way the Saints used him was perfect. Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram.
I agree.
He's a good change of pace back. Earl Thomas is a game changer on defense.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And the Baltimore defense was already pretty good.
Well, and so they lost Weddle, or did they? Okay, so hence the Earl Thomas signing.
Right.
But like you think of, I think of Ed Reed, and then Eric Weddle, and now Earl Thomas. It's like he's going to be
the only
that guy.
shaky thing with Thomas is he's coming off of injuries,
Right. Yeah.
So
but still,
you never know. Like you never know how that's going to affect a defensive player specifically.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think even an injured Earl Thomas or a not 100% Earl Thomas is better than a good number of the other safeties in this league.
I mean, he's on a team he hopefully wants to play for. Like when he was with Seattle, he was just begging to be traded.
Right.
Like, so that's.
And I was
that's a
hoping
positive.
that he would end up with the Cowboys because there was that whole thing 2 years ago after after the Cowboys Seahawks game where he came and told Jason Garrett to come get him.
Yeah.
So it was clear that he was unhappy. So, who knows? Maybe being in a different environment, different team, a team who
Could be
can
good for him.
compete. Yeah.
It is a 4-year, $55 million contract
He got
with
paid.
$32 million guaranteed.
Whoa.
Which
That's
is
a lot
huge,
of moolah.
especially for a safety.
Right. But I think if there were a safety to earn that contract, it would be Earl Thomas. I mean, Earl Thomas allows you to do so many different things with your defense. I mean, he truly is a center fielder where you can put him up there in a single high look and just allow your strong safety to roam about, do whatever he needs to do, and Earl Thomas has got you covered.
Gosh, imagine if he played for the Vikings. I'm just thinking about that right now.
I think you're getting close to the mic and whispering again, and that's kind of
I'm getting intimate with it.
I think one of the biggest moves that what do they call it? The Ravens made. I lost it for a second. Was getting rid of Joe Flacco and saying, "Okay, Lamar, you better learn how to throw because if you can, you'll be really darn good. But until then, you're not going to be very good,
really darn
as
bad.
we saw in the playoffs." But I think I like it. I'm sick and tired of Joe Flacco. Get him out of here.
Are you kidding me? Joe Flacco is elite.
No, he's not.
Joe Flacco hasn't been elite since
ever.
What year was he born?
Yeah, seriously. 1943, I think.
Interested to see how he does.
Also, on a side note, he went to the Broncos, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
he went to the Broncos, Keenum went to the Washington.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for Case Keenum. And also, what are
he
the Broncos
did,
doing?
yeah.
Like, ever since
thought
Tim
John
Tebow,
Elway,
they have been trying to find older stopgap quarterbacks. It's like John Elway was one of the best quarterbacks in league history. Shouldn't he know what good quarterback talent looks like when he
Peyton
sees
Manning
it?
left and he was so confused about what to do with his life.
What do I do now?
That's
Case
it, like,
Keenum.
That's it. Like you had Peyton Manning for those two great seasons in 2013 and 2014.
Well, 2 great seasons of Denver Broncos football. Not necessarily great seasons of Peyton Manning.
No,
the first one.
2013.
2013
He
was
really
set
good.
record,
Yeah.
like 55 touchdowns. That was great. 2014, not as much.
Yeah.
But at least
Defensive
he was great.
I do love Peyton Manning.
2013.
So that was a good thing for me.
He was great 2013, serviceable 2014, not so good 2015.
He really had a
Ready to
drop
retire.
off when he
Ready to retire.
decided he was old.
Yeah. Yeah. The poor dude could not move in his prime.
But anyway, Broncos have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
I really don't care.
The Bills, however,
A lot of talk about the
a
Bills.
lot of talk about the Bills. Best team in New York? Question mark. Not hard, but
the Jets have Le'Veon Bell,
Yeah,
so
that's
I
true.
don't know.
Bills signed Cole Beasley to a 4-year, $29 million deal.
Overrated.
I agree.
Okay.
I think
I like Cole Beasley.
I like Cole Beasley too, but you look, his breakout seasons were 2014 and 2015, particularly 2014. And you look, that was Tony Romo's last year as the full-time starter. Tony Romo had a pretty good knack for turning slot receivers, no-name slot receivers, into viable weapons.
I also do think.
And you look over the last. Oh, were you going to say something?
I was going to say this. Just Cole Beasley is like the prime slot receiver.
He is.
But with someone that's not Tony Romo, you need 2 more weapons on the outside.
Yes.
In
Exactly.
order to have a slot receiver that's not just going to be double covered because
Yep.
he's not a big guy.
Right. And you look, over the last couple seasons in Dallas. I mean, I've got a whole bunch of issues with how that offense was run, and that's why their
Are you kidding me? It was great.
That's why their offensive coordinator was fired. You're wrong, TJ. I know you're joking, but you're wrong. That offense goes through Zeke, and so you would think that would allow your receivers to have some more options, but Dak just could not get the ball to anybody. When they had Dez was on the decline, sure, but even when they had Dez, he was still, a very physical receiver, was able to win one-on-one matchups. Dak wasn't doing anything, so they got rid of him. And they're thinking, oh, yeah, we can just go with this, receiver by committee. Who needs a number one? Everybody needs a number one receiver.
Yeah.
And
unless they're the Vikings, they need 2 number ones.
But then once you get...
Skipping down the list a little bit there, TJ.
Once you get Amari Cooper, it becomes the Amari Cooper show. And so you got guys like Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and Cole Beasley just didn't have a role. And so I think part of it was the Cowboys' confusion about what they're doing with their wide receivers, about what passing the ball is. I don't think they really knew how to pass the ball or what that concept was. It just didn't register with them last season. But so Cole Beasley, he's a shifty route runner. He's very elusive. I think he's slightly overrated, though, because you look, those kinds of guys on the right team can do really well, but you need to be on the right team. The Patriots have made a name for taking no-name receivers and turning them into great players, but that's because
telling me the
playing with
Buffalo
Tom Brady.
Bills are not as good as New England?
I think that's exactly what he is saying.
They haven't been as good as New
You're
England.
right.
They haven't been as good as New England since like the 1990s.
Since Drew
Since
Bledsoe.
New England was bad and
Yeah.
Buffalo was good.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think Beasley needed to end up in the right situation. I don't think Buffalo was the right situation.
Well, who's throwing him the ball? Isn't it Peterman still?
Oh, gosh. It's Nathan.
I think it is, isn't
I
it?
still don't know how that man has a job in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's the Bills.
There was a point in time I think it was over 2 games that he threw more interceptions than he threw touchdowns.
Oh, yeah, I believe
Like,
that.
double.
But here's what I respect about the Bills. The Bills are going to do something. Like, not to switch gears back to MLB for a second, but like the Bills are doing something.
They're trying.
They suck, and they know. Well, they made the playoffs 2 years ago, but
And the Bills have Josh Allen. It's not Nathan Peterman.
That's right, Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. Sorry,
Yeah.
but it was Peterman for a couple
It
games.
was.
In
Well,
there.
because they just had a catastrophe at quarterback
Yeah.
where like all of their their 3 people ahead of Peterman died.
Yeah, a lot of death in the NFL.
There's a
this
lot
past
of
year.
death in the NFL. They also signed Frank Gore to a 1-year deal. 1 year, $2 million. That's
He is-
honestly,
He's solid though. I mean,
that's
he's,
a good signing because it does nothing to your cap, and you have a guy that he'll get you 3 yards if you need it.
Yeah,
And there was a stat that NFL.com posted that this combination of LaShawn McCoy and Frank Gore, that is the most combined rushing yards over their careers for any 1-2 duo
yeah.
in the NFL. Like, these guys have been around for a long time. They're good at what they do. And I think Frank Gore's running style is a really good complement to LaShawn McCoy's running style.
Yeah, I think LaShawn McCoy needs to have a season
Yeah.
if he wants to make any more money the rest of his career, because he did not last year.
No.
And he needs to get it together.
Well, I think that's also part of the Bills not having a passing attack.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Going to move on down to the next big move because Matt Parody for Carolina is
No idea.
They re-signed their center. That's what
Okay.
it is. Or they signed a center and re-signed a tackle. The Bears have signed Cordero Patterson.
Really?
And he
I'm
is
learning a lot.
going to burn us to the ground.
Twice a year.
Will he, though?
I'm.
On kickoff, he will.
Will he
He
though?
will.
He is an explosive returner. And if used properly, can be a decent decoy option at receiver, get some good end arounds in there, whatnot. But I don't think you go in to a game expecting Cordero Patterson to put up a return touchdown. You just can't build an offensive
No, you
system
have
around
to.
that. Particularly with the Bears now, too. So I think it's a good complimentary signing. I think, and because he is a former Viking, I think we're more interested in it. But I don't think that's a huge move. It's a good move. Like, the Bears have a history of having some decent return men. And so it makes sense. But honestly, I don't think this will really affect, the 2 games that we play against them every season, and I don't think this will affect their overall roster construction.
How much money are they paying him?
$10 million, $5 million guaranteed for 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah,
I think this is more of a wide receiver move than it is a return man move.
Yeah.
I think
he's
after seeing him in New England, he was used much more effectively and efficiently as a wide receiver, and someone who it's like Frank Gore being a wide receiver. We need 6 yards. Throw it out to him and let him just fall forward. He's a freaking huge dude, and the Vikes tried to get him involved, or at least said they tried to get him involved. But he's a fast, big dude. Like, he's hard to take down. He's basically a more athletic tight end.
Yeah,
Who can't block, who's a really good receiving tight end, But, like...
He's like Laquan Treadwell, except fast and can catch.
And can catch. Yeah, that's a big thing. Can catch instead of can't catch.
We're going to skip the Browns and come back to them because we want to end on the most exciting
Best way to end a
bit of
podcast.
news. Dallas Cowboys re-signed DeMarcus Lawrence. Or they franchise
tagged him. He said that he will not report if he doesn't get a long-term deal.
Worth more than $20 million on the franchise tag, but he wants a long-term deal from the Cowboys. Also, Jason Witten came out of retirement to sign a $3.5 million deal, 1 year.
Worth up to $5 million with incentives. Which, I've already talked about it, I think is a good idea. I think it's a good move. It's not... It's a flashy move in terms of, he is one of the great Dallas Cowboys. Like, if
it's almost entirely a PR move, I feel.
I don't think so. I think the Cowboys they were screwed at the tight end position when he retired. I mean, you've got Blake Jarwin, Jeff Swaim, and Rico Gaithers. Do you know who those guys are?
I don't know any of those 3
greatest
people.
tight ends in the NFL.
I've never heard of any of those 3 people.
I struggled to remember their names as I was listing them off. They combined had 600 yards and 8 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's what Jason Witten had the season before he retired by himself.
Yeah, so I think, well. I mean...
And so,
you're doing just fine.
There's also Dalton Schultz, who is our second-round pick, and I think the Cowboys are really invested in Schultz as kind of the future at the tight end position, at least for now. And so bringing in Witten to fill an immediate need where none of those tight ends on the roster are ready. I wouldn't trust any of them as a starting tight end. Blake Jarwin got a little better. He had just an explosive week 17 and was pretty good at blocking. But Witten comes in. He is a proven, reliable target at tight end, fills that immediate need, and then can also help kind of mentor Dalton Schultz, bring him along. So is Witten the best tight end in the league? No, not even close. I don't think he has been since, 08. But he is a solid option, good in the passing game, good in the running game, and can help kind of stabilize the locker room and bring along some young tight ends. I'll get off my soapbox now.
Can I put you back on for like 30 seconds?
Yeah, sure.
What do you think about Jason Garrett? Is he because in my mind and everything I see about him and everything I read and all of my instincts tell me he's terrible and needs to leave.
The best way to look at it is comparing him to Jimmy Johnson, who was the head coach of the Cowboys from 89 to 93.
Okay.
In that time, they went from worst team in the NFL to winning 2 Super Bowls. And a lot of that was because Jimmy Johnson had his pick. He could do what he wanted with the roster, and he built his team.
Yep.
And Jerry Jones got too much of an ego after they won their second Super Bowl, and Jimmy was getting all the credit. So he fired him and said, I can do it without him. And so since then, Jerry Jones has been looking for the ultimate yes man. Who will
think he has achieved that.
Who will put his nose down and just do what Jerry tells him to do. And so Jerry can take all the credit. And it worked when they had Barry Switzer. They won their final Super Bowl with Jimmy Johnson's roster in 95. But since then, the Cowboys have just not had great coaches. Bill Callahan in the mid-2000s, maybe. I mean, he was a great coach, but not for the Cowboys. So Garrett, I have no doubt is a good football mind. Like he was backup quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys in the 90s.
Right.
So he's been around the sport, knows what he's doing. I don't think he is strong enough or independently minded enough to make his own team and really make the Cowboys his team. I think he's too buddy with the players. He isn't as firm as he needs to be. And with Jason Garrett, you get 3-8-8 seasons.
Yeah.
I think,
give or take, 1 or 2 wins here and there.
I mean, the amount of talent that they have had on the roster over the last 4 years. I mean, they've won the division 3 times in the last 5 years. So they're doing something with it compared to.
It's just that the division has been terrible around them too.
At the beginning of the decade, going from 6-10 to 3-8-8 seasons to now winning the division 3 times in the last 5 years, that's progress. But at this point, we're not looking for progress. We are looking for a Super Bowl championship.
Achievement.
It's been 25 years, and Garrett has been sitting there doing nothing for far too long. Decent coach, not what the Cowboys need, not what the Cowboys should want. It's what Jerry wants. And what Jerry wants is what happens because, he's Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into that because we'll be here for another 3 hours.
Speaking of people who, there's a lot of depth we talked about.
Yeah.
Speaking of people who need to get on their way, I think Jerry Jones falls into that category. Anyway.
Moving on, we talked a little bit about Denver with Joe Flacco trading for a 4th-round pick
Elite.
for Denver, the most elite quarterback
LOL.
in the NFL. They also got Kareem Jackson at DB with a 3-year, $33 million deal, and signed Jawan James, offensive tackle, to a 4-year, $51 million contract for an offensive tackle.
I mean, tackles are at a premium.
They
Cool
are,
name too.
but that's big money.
There's a theory that goes around that I don't know if I buy into. I like the idea of it. Where there were a couple GMs back in the 90s who said in order to have a Super Bowl winning team, a Super Bowl caliber team, you need 4 critical pieces. You need a quarterback. You need someone to protect that quarterback. So left tackle, right tackle, depending on which arm they throw, hit the blind side. You need a good pass rusher, and you need a lockdown corner. If you have those 4, those are the building blocks you need. And so I think because the left tackle is part of that kind of, blueprint, as it were, I think that is why they're so heavily valued. It's because the quarterback is so heavily valued. And so you look at guys like Nick Foles, who went to the Jaguars for $88 million. Nick Foles is not an $88 million quarterback, but there's such a premium on that position that people who make investments want to protect that investment. And so because of that, linemen are valued much higher than maybe they should be because there's such a heavy investment in that quarterback position that you need to protect it as best you can.
Quarterbacks league. Yeah,
Exactly.
That makes sense.
And you got to protect Joe Flacco
Oh, God.
because he's elite. The Lions signed Danny Amendola
God, he's been
and Justin
fired for
Coleman
the past 6 years.
and Trey Flowers.
Not bad. I think the
Okay.
Not
Lions.
bad. And Jesse James at tight end.
I think the Lions are going quantity over quality.
Yeah,
what
they're
it
just
seems.
getting players.
Yep. Yeah.
Trying to make something work. I think Jesse James is a decent tight end option. He was huge a couple of years ago. Like supposed to be the next big breakout star. I think it was with the Chargers. He was supposed to be like the next tight end, but I think there was an injury that just didn't work out. So
He wasn't the next tight end. He was until the next tight end came around.
Right.
then he was the last tight end.
Packers signed 3 defensive guys, Adrian Amos at safety, and then Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith, both at edge rush for contracts, both 4 years, one $52 million for Preston, $66 million for Zadarius.
I think the Adrian Amos signing is interesting. Where, I mean, haha Clinton Dix for a while.
Love that name.
I mean,
I can't not laugh when I
know.
hear it.
It came out in 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be like a really good safety.
And he is.
And
He's pretty good. He's pretty good.
He's decent.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
is an above average safety. But that wasn't cutting it on the Packers defense because they've got nothing
more
on
holes than
defense.
Swiss cheese.
Seriously.
AO. But I think that they're signing the 2 edge rushers and that safety signifies that the Packers are really focusing on defense, particularly because outside linebacker, that edge rush, that's Clay Matthews' position. And he's been a fan favorite for as long as I can remember. And so saying, hey, you're not cutting it. So we got competition here for you. I think that's a big sign that the Packers are really starting to kind of get with it and not focus so much on we're just going to win with Aaron Rodgers and whoever else we can.
See, I don't like any of these moves because the Vikings have to play the Packers 2 times a year, and I really don't like losing to them.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that.
So I hate every move that they've made so far that has been good.
I think it started like the culture shift, what you're talking about, going from just like, oh, we love these people so blindly so much, they're amazing, right? I think getting rid of Mike McCarthy was that first big,
right?
Well,
Huge.
We're here to play football in the NFL. It's not just like we can't just trust to have a really darn good quarterback like we've had for the past 20 years to will us into a Super Bowl.
I mean, that's been their formula since 2010 when they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and it has not worked since.
Yeah,
and at least then they had a great defense.
Yeah, and they just get injured all the time, and it's just it's good stuff.
We're gonna skip down now to Nick Foles.
Nick Foles and the Jags.
Signing
I love it.
$88 million contract with a max value of 102.
And it's 4
4
years?
years.
4 years.
4 years.
So if you look at it, it's not per year is right around what you'd pay for a really good quarterback. Like that is.
Here's the thing. It's Nick Foles.
Right. And so he has shown, I think, over the last 2 years that in the right system, he makes it work. I mean, 2 deep playoff runs taking over for Carson Wentz. You can't just dismiss that altogether. Sure, he was in a system that he's familiar with. Doug Peterson is really good with quarterbacks, and that Eagles team was really good just all around. You look, they had a good defense.
Like
that
best
pass
defense,
rush is scary good. I mean, they had 8 guys on that defensive line who could start pretty much anywhere else. So they had pieces, and so Nick Foles didn't have to do it by himself. But there were times that he did have to do it by himself. And he would fight through. I mean, went toe-to-toe with Tom Brady in the Super Bowl 2 years ago and won. I mean, he was making some great throws. So he is, I think, of the recent quarterback signings of people like throwing at the wall trying to make it work, I think this could be the one that, if it were to work, it wouldn't be too surprising.
My problem with Nick Foles is that he's so horrifically inconsistent in that, like, yeah, he went toe-to-toe with Tom Brady and won the Super Bowl. That was 2 games after he threw for like 90 yards against the Raiders. In the week 16, when he muscled through to win that game. What was it, 12-9?
Right.
Yeah.
It was awful.
I forgot about that.
So the man is talented, but he's just, you don't know if you're going to get a good game from him. And I don't know if it's worth signing that much money to him.
I will say this. I understand what you're saying. And he's getting older, too. He's been in the league for what feels like forever. And I've always liked him because it seems like he's that guy that you put in. And his first game in there, he throws for 520 yards and 7 touchdowns. You know? Like, he just lights the place up. But he is inconsistent. And the only reason I really like this is because compared to what they had, this is an insane improvement. Blake Bortles is trash. He is terrible.
You watch your mouth.
He is so bad. Okay? I am so behind this trade because this is the Jags saying, all right, well, we have some pieces here. We need to take a risk. And Blake Bortles has single-handedly lost games for them.
Many games.
Very often over the last however long he's been
You could
there.
probably put out 5 or 6 last season that he single-handedly lost
just
for that
not
team.
Good.
And I think if you put Nick Foles into that Jaguars team 2 years ago who made it to the AFC Championship game, the same year that the Eagles made it to the NFC Championship. So like, say the Eagles were to trade Nick Foles for Blake Bortles for whatever reason, for those championship games. I very much believe that the Jaguars would have won the game, would have won the Super Bowl that season.
For sure.
Because Nick Foles is, like, as inconsistent as he is, he's so much better than Blake Bortles.
Oh my goodness.
He is a great quarterback when he is on.
Yeah. It's just that he's not always on.
Right.
Well, and I think part of that, too, spending a couple of years with Jeff Fisher is like
that'll do
quarterback
some things
That'll
to you.
kill a couple years off your career right there.
That messes you up.
Yeah. Isn't that terrible? To just be like, yo, you worked with Jeff Fisher? Ugh.
He was with the Rams before the Rams got good.
Yeah, he was that after Kurt Warner, before.
Well, after Kurt Warner was like 04. So
Right, but he was. I mean, like I'm talking about the Rams high and then the Rams low plus Jeff Fisher. Now where they are,
because you had the peak in 99 to 01 where they made the Super Bowl 2 times in 3 years.
Yep.
Then they started kind of going downhill. They traded Warner to the Giants in 04, and they started Mark Bulger, who for a while was pretty good, but you had still kind of the pieces of the greatest show on turf still there. It wasn't until like 06, 07, 08 that they just hit rock bottom. Mm-hmm. And then they brought in Jeff Fisher.
Then they decided on purpose to bring in Jeff Fisher.
Right. Which is a shame.
Greatest move they've ever made.
I remember in 2010, it was right around Christmas time. It was week 17, watching the St. Louis Rams and the Seattle Seahawks play for the final wild card spot, and both teams were 7-8 at that time.
Oh,
and that
that is ugly.
That was Sam Bradford's first year, and that was the most success we had since 04. And there were people in the St. Louis airport who were like genuinely excited. It's like, oh my gosh, we have a chance at the playoffs. It's like, guys, if you win this, you're 8-8. You're gonna get slaughtered by the Saints.
Yeah.
And of course, that was the year that in that wild card game against the Saints, that was the birth of Beast Mode, where he had that like 8 break tackle run.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so at that point, you're firmly in rock bottom, and Nick Foles comes in. I think he was with the Eagles, 2012, 2013. I think left 2014, 2015 was when they had him, and that was like lowest of the low.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it's that bad. It's better than Blake Bortles. Anything is better than Blake Bortles. Except for Nathan Peterman. He is definitely worse than Blake Bortles.
I want to see them duke it out for a starting spot somewhere.
Oh, God. Who can throw more interceptions in the first 5 possessions of the game?
2 more teams I want to talk about before we get out of here.
Okay.
Anthony Barr.
What a man.
What happened?
So what happened was Anthony Barr had presumably agreed to a deal with the Jets. He had talked to them on the phone.
There was a verbal agreement to sign with the Jets.
Okay.
He's going to sign a big deal with the Jets.
Yeah.
For like 5 years. And last night, Mike Zimmer called him.
Oh, I like it.
And
I love that a lot.
As soon as the call was over, it was announced that Anthony Barr would be signing with the Vikings for a 5-year. It was released today. It's 5 years, $67.5 million.
Which was a significant pay cut from what he would have gotten with the Jets.
Wow.
So we've done it again. Yet another potential free agent that we snuck from the snatches. Snatched from the jaws.
Snatched
that's what I'm
from the snatch.
I feel like that's really inappropriate.
I said what I said, and I'm not proud of it. Snatched it from the Jets.
I mean,
so he's sticking with us.
For a while, I didn't really care about the Jets. Like, I mean, they had the butt fumble and everything. It was like, they're kind of fun. But over the last couple of years, I've gotten really pissed at the Jets, or maybe mostly just Jets fans.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, there was that New York Post article just, like, lambasting Minnesota and just total trash talking it. And it was like, how could Kirk Cousins choose, Minnesota over the greatest city in the world?
They've probably put out, I don't know, maybe one a week. Like using the phrase "classless Kirk Cousins" in the headline, and there's it's constant. Yeah. It's one of these every month or so of like just something that he did, and they're always mad. Like they always bring up, "This is the guy that said he was going to come to New York and then decided to go to Minnesota," and it's
which is just total trash because Kirk Cousins is one of the most genuinely good people in the NFL.
He's like the quirky dad of the NFL.
Exactly.
Like, how could you not enjoy that?
And so I'm sorry that your butt hurt over Kirk Cousins choosing the better team.
Man, it's too bad you suck and are in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even in good New York. You're in New Jersey.
Exactly. Like the New York Post talking like, how could Kirk Cousins spurn the greatest thing in the world? It's like, he's not.
That was the thing that got me probably the most upset. It was like, how could you trade Minneapolis for New York? And I was like, he's not. He doesn't want to live across the turnpike from New York. He doesn't want to have to get stuck in 4 hours of traffic and then die of cancer before he can get there.
I like how that just jumped in there. Just a quick cancer death.
It's New Jersey. It happens.
Yeah, I guess so.
So Anthony Barr made the right choice.
He made the right choice.
And New York or the New York Jets can go.
And we still love him.
Yeah.
I like Anthony Barr. He hurt Aaron Rodgers. I like that. I don't know. He was solid. The defense was not solid for the Vikes last year, but
it was more scheming stuff than anything. Like, it was talented. Like, he's still talented.
Yeah,
it was
he's
just
an integral piece of that team too.
Teams were able to provide mismatches and have him covering people that were smaller and faster than he was because he's a linebacker.
Yep, and that did not work out well.
Yeah,
he's kind of a prototypical 3-4 edge rusher.
Yeah.
More than anything.
Which is weird running on a 4-3 team, but
playing middle linebacker.
Playing middle linebacker.
Too.
Yeah, love it. It's great.
Yeah, we'll take
Zim.
it.
You beautiful, beautiful man.
I like that. I'd see. That's a conversation I want to hear. Like, what did he say to make him?
I am convinced that all he had to do was call Anthony Barr and just play Chicago's "If You Leave Me Now."
Oh my God!
I can almost. I want to bet that it was a call that was, like Mike Zim just said, "Hey, Anthony." Because what Anthony said afterwards was that he felt physically ill, and then he called it off with the Jets. Like he felt sick.
Oh.
And I'm really hoping Mike Zim called him and was just like, I respect your decision. I'm really glad you played with us for these past few years, and I really do hope you're the best. And then Anthony just hung up. He's like,
what am I doing?
Come on, man, I can't.
That's the softest Mike Zimmer's ever been in his life.
Minnesota nice for you.
Seriously.
Oh,
that's funny.
And on to our most hyped up topic of the day.
Absolutely.
The Cleveland Browns, specifically Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah,
what are the Giants doing?
That's a good question. What do they even get for Odell?
They got a couple of draft picks and
Jabril Peppers, Kevin Zeitler, a guard, and then they got a first round and a third round draft pick.
So it's a pretty decent haul, but Odell Beckham, arguably one of the greatest receivers in the league, only 26 years old, and they're paying most of his contract.
Yep.
Like the Browns are getting discounted OBJ for 4 years now?
I don't know if you guys saw Eric Ebron's tweet about this, but he tweeted out last night after all this went down. He just said, currently checking my schedule to see if I'm playing the Cleveland Browns because I don't want to anymore.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're becoming a team that's not just an easy win anymore. Like,
let's say we're only 2 years removed from their 1-31 streak.
We're so close to that.
And I think that last year was so big for them. Like, they played in close games, which is huge. And they lost 3 or 4 close games. But they played in them. They're not getting waxed by 30 every game. And, if they win a game, it's not 9-6, even though I think they won like a 9-6 game this year.
Well, that was when they still had Tyrod Taylor. So.
Yeah,
I do think it's important that, the Browns are no longer a team that other teams come in, the Vikings, when they played the Browns in London, Mike Zimmer openly said that he was game planning for the week after that. Like, he wasn't planning for the Browns, and they came in and they smoked them because it was a terrible team.
Yeah.
Now it's a team that you can't do that anymore. Mm-hmm. You can't just look at your schedule and say easy win week 13 against Cleveland.
Well, the Browns have the third highest odds per Vegas odds makers to make it to the Super Bowl for the AFC, behind the Patriots and the Chiefs.
I mean, the first highest odds for the new Browns head coach is also Sean McVay, so
I think that one is just
far-fetched.
Yeah, but this one I think actually means something.
Yeah,
and where people are recognizing that this is a good team. They've got a solid core, a great offense in the works right now.
It's going to be an offensive team. Like, they can score like crazy.
Nice. It was offensive. Now it's going to be offensive.
Oh God. They have weapons, and big time weapons. Yeah. Not just someone who's they're solid, but they have Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham, who are best friends too. That can and they're both absolute divas. Those two, Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham. They are just drama queens. But if they're together, maybe they can be friends about it.
Well, that's it. They're former LSU teammates. They're really good friends.
Yeah.
So I think that works in their favor.
Yeah. Antonio Callaway too, the speedster. being the number 3 guy, like we talked about Beasley earlier, being the guy that everyone forgets about. If you just one time, that's all it takes, 70-yard touchdown. And Baker can throw that football 70 yards, and then they have Nick Chubb. Oh my God.
So what we're hearing here, the official TJ Birnbaum Q4 prediction for next season's Super Bowl.
I love these. Way too early predictions.
Way too early predictions right now. Los Angeles Rams, Cleveland Browns.
I love it. That'd be so fantastic.
If I said that phrase, like the best part about this is that like this isn't a serious prediction, but if I would have said that phrase in 2007, everyone would have laughed at me.
You'd be arrested.
Now I can say that, and people are like, "It's possible."
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
It's a legitimate possibility that the Cleveland Browns could make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, man, it's exciting. It's exciting stuff.
Wild times to be.
I love the Browns. I love the Browns, dude. It's just such a feel-good story when they win. Every time, it's like, yes, the fans got the beer. Like, nice. And now it's like, hey, they doubled their win total. They've won more games in one season than they did in the last 3.
Well, it's kind of funny, too, how, like, everybody is super hyped about a 7-8-1 season. Like, the Vikings went 7-9. And we're like, dang. That was
terrible.
Awful. Yeah. And like the Browns, they've turned it around. Like, I mean, going from, 1-31 to 7-8-1, that is impressive. And they are on the uptrend. But still, just like people are like actively excited and super pumped about a 7-8-1 season.
Yeah. This is how we know the apocalypse is incoming.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We're dead in less than 5 years for sure. Yeah.
And on that bright, sunny note.
I mean, death.
Yeah, we've been talking about death a lot.
It's weird.
It's Lent, memento mori.
There you go.
From all of us at Q4, we'd like to thank you for
I was like, there's no way he's going to end it without doing that weird whisper thing. That's been a while.
Public radio.
We had too much to talk about.
We really did. That's why we can't go 5.5 months between episodes.
Seriously. That was good stuff, though.
Also, it sounds so weird now to talk to you without having headphones.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Oh.
Sounds fantastic with it, though.
It does. Oh, it sounds so good.
Sounds great.
We're going to be super long.
Yeah, that's got to be close to like 2 hours.
What's the password?
New media, capital N, capital N.
That's right. You guys still haven't changed your password.
We're always at 2 hours.
Holy Jesus, it's 7:08. Gotta get to bed.